This week was a big week because the voting for the community decided third creature of the new free map Lost Island was over. Lost Island is supposed to be released at the end of the year, but as always, it did not end without any drama. Some bigger YouTubers were in suspicion of rigging the vote, even though Wildcard did not really say that YouTubers should not ask their community to vote. Quite the opposite, actually. But every time votes like these are happening, a big amount of people will be very disappointed because their favorite will not be voted. And that influencers have a bigger reach to their community and are a little bit better in mobilizing the masses is also something that is expectable. Some people felt a little bit like their single voice vote did not count, and I totally understand that. But you always have to keep in mind, even though those communities are gathered around a big YouTuber, they are still part of the ARK community. Therefore, their vote counts just as much as everybody's else. But having a voting mechanic like this is always complicated, and it will always leave people behind that are disappointed that their dinosaur did not win. But now we have an official result of the voting, and the official result is called Dinopithecus. But before we have a closer look at the Dinopithicus, if you like content like this, please consider leaving a like and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see videos like these more often in your suggested videos, because YouTube will have a look at which kind of videos you like and then suggest them to you more often. But now let's have a look at the new animal, Dinopithicus, the new monkey that will celebrate his debut on Lost Island. So the Dinopithicus won, and the Dinopithicus is a giant baboon. And even though I am not personally very excited about another monkey, because I think we already have enough monkeys in the game, and I think it's very complicated to make them unique enough in order for them to not replace each other, but I think Wildcard will do their best to implement the monkey balanced enough so it's unique enough. I was surprised how fast it was because we already got a dossier that informs us about the abilities that the Dinopithecus has. So the Dinopithecus is supposed to be a very social animal, and it has an alpha animal. You can see which animal is the alpha by checking its bottom, and Wildcard, I think they had a lot of fun creating these, because not only can you see at the bottom of the monkey if it's the alpha animal, they even made it an own color region, so you can mutate the bottom of the monkey. But let's have a look at the dossier in detail. The first part tells us that the baboon, the Dinopithecus, is very big, and it's unusually big compared to their wild ancestors. The Dinopithecus will be about twice the size of the player. They are also unusually social. You will find them in the wild in groups, and those groups have an alpha animal, like I mentioned before. And those groups will scatter apart when the alpha dies. And this is unusual for those animal groups we had before, because usually the next best animal will become the alpha, but in this case the group will shatter apart. In the next part of the dossier we find out about the diet of the Dinopithecus, and it's going to be an omnivore. Even though it prefers fruit and vegetables, it will not say no to a little bit of meat here and there. It also mentions that it's a very good climber and it's able to jump between trees and cliffs. If this means that we can now utilize the trees that are standing around on the map, I don't know. Usually you can only use the static redwood trees or trees that can't be farmed. But maybe this baboon can make use of those farmable trees as well. The next part talks about the attack abilities of the Dinopithecus. He can not only utilize his very sharp and pointy teeth, I can imagine that is very painful, but also throw feces at their enemies. And I was a little bit disappointed that we get yet another animal that has this attack mechanic, but this time the feces will contain parasites, and those parasites are able to disable tech. And this is an ability that we have seen in the game before, and that's from Genesis 2. If you are in Rockwell Innards, you will have tentacles spawning in the ground when you're flying around, and those tentacles will throw some kind of goo at you, and this goo will disable all tech functions on your tech suit, which causes you to drop to the floor like a stone and be attacked by all the ground enemies you have there. But I think this ability makes sense on Lost Island because we have an island here that tries to add as many real dinosaurs and creatures as possible and tries to avoid all this high-tech stuff. So having something that counters this high-tech stuff makes sense. Also, I think the more primitive game style is something that the devs want to see here preferable, especially when we look forward to ARK 2. Once you have tamed the Dinopithecus, it is a grouped animal as well, so you are going to tame a big group of them, and the alpha is able to command the other ones by screaming. And here they got back to the old alpha mechanic, so the strongest animal is going to be the alpha. The dossier also says that you do not need a saddle in order to ride the Dinopithecus, but you are held by its tail. It also gets an additional attack once tamed. It can not only throw its own feces, but it also can throw grenades. The other dino that can do this is the Tropeo, but since the Dinopithecus has no saddle, I don't think we get the option to modify or raise the damage output of the grenades, because with a Tropeo we do this with a saddle. But it also means we will not get some kind of armor protection unless they reuse the natural armor option they used with the Shadow Manes. Because with the Shadow Manes you have somewhat of an integrated saddle that counts as natural armor. Maybe they skip it all together and just use boosts to make the Dinopithecus not become a very squishy animal. A tamed Dinopithecus can also climb and even use zip lines. That's going to be interesting because I feel like the zip lines are very underused. Wild Dinopithecus have a slight different social behavior towards the player depending on the group sizes. If they are alone or in a small group, they are more like skittish and try to avoid the player. But if they are in bigger groups, they get more and more brave and start getting aggressive towards the player. We have seen some similar behavior with the Compy, for example, even though the Compy is not skittish but very interested in the player. But if it's in a big group, it will start attacking the player. I can imagine that you probably have to isolate one animal from the group if you want to tame it. Even though we have no information on how you tame them, they probably haven't decided on that yet. So we don't know if it's a normal knockout tame, or if it's a passive tame, or if we get something very unique. Because I have seen Wildcat get in very creative with new taming methods. And even though I have not voted for this baboon, I'm happy for everyone who did vote for the baboon and who made him finally win. My personal favorite was the Xenomacrops Bondi, and that's the small little adorable cute glider. But from what I heard, the vote was a little bit rigged in the beginning and people made new accounts just in order to vote for it. And it's a little bit sad because after I've seen the first scientific publications of this little cute adorable thing, and I'm showing you a picture. How adorable is this? How adorable can an animal be? After I've seen the first pictures, I was like, I need this in ARK. We need to get this in ARK. And it's a little bit sad that we are not getting it. But that's how it is. That's how voting works. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and in this case I lost. But maybe if the baboon is very good, we all win. But what do you think about the vote, and what do you think about the result? What animal did you vote for? Or did you even vote for an animal? Let me know in the comments. And how excited are you for Lost Island? And do you plan on playing on the new map? The second news we got with the community crunch was an in-game render of the Megasaurus. And that's the second new creature of the 3 creatures that we get in Lost Island. I don't know about you, but the face of the Megasaurus looks very weird. Some people already compared it to a mixture of the Megashelon and Groot, and if I'm completely honest, they are not wrong about this. It really looks like that. And I think it's kind of funny because if you think about how aggressive and dangerous this is going to be, I don't feel really threatened by it. Do you? I mean, maybe I will once I get to know this dinosaur and once I died a lot of times to this dinosaur. But right now I don't feel really threatened. And I'm going to show you now a comparison between the concept art and the in-game render, and let me know what do you think. But yeah, that's all the news we have to Lost Island. And Lost Island is going to be released at the end of the year if the plans stay like they are. If there will be any changes, I will of course tell you. And if you want to see more videos about Lost Island and about news and rumors, then check the 2 videos I will add at the end. Click on whatever you want to see. And I hope I can see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye!